Hey guys, Frightener22 here, and welcome back to yet another episode of Frightener22's Saturday Night Movie Drive-In. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at a film from one of my favorite directors of all time, that being Wes Craven. So we're going to be taking a look at his 1991 film, The People Under the Stairs. Now, the copy of the film that I'm actually reviewing is from the Wes Craven Horror Collection 3 DVD set that came out this past fall, that came out. It actually included The People Under the Stairs and his two other films, The Serpent and the Rainbow and Shocker. So the film, obviously, that we're going to be taking a look at is The People Under the Stairs. Now, the story in this deals with a young boy played by Brandon Adams. A lot of you guys might actually recall he played the character of Jesse in The Mighty Ducks. So he plays a young boy who's persuaded by a family friend, played by Ving Rhames, to break into the landlord of the apartment, the dilapidated apartment complex that they live in. He's persuaded to break into their home to steal a really valuable coin collection, but it isn't until he breaks into the home that he realized that, the nightmares that inhabit the home of, like, the people that actually live underneath the stairs and in between the walls, and of course, of the landlords themselves, who are just turned out to be complete fucking psychos. So, this was actually the first time I ever watched The People Under the Stairs, surprisingly. I mean, for me, being as big of a Craven fan as I am, The People Under the Stairs was just one that really snuck underneath the radar for me, as well as The Serpent and the Rainbow. I had just seen The Serpent and the Rainbow probably 2-3 weeks back, and I really, really enjoyed that, and I wouldn't doubt that that would probably become a future Saturday Night Movie Drive-In review. But The People Under the Stairs was just one Craven film that just kind of snuck away. I mean, I grew up loving Elm Street, Scream, Last House on the Left, but this one just kind of, snuck through the cracks. But after viewing it tonight, I can safely say that this film absolutely kicked, a ton of ass. I really, really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. And, a lot of that credit just really goes to Craven, because Craven just really is, a really wonderfully skilled director. And, I mean, just the guy himself. I mean, you put a camera on Craven, and you can just let it roll and, listen to him talk. And I swear to God, after listening to Craven for just, I could hear him talk for hours on end, but I seriously think after I listen to Craven talk, I walk away 10 times fucking smarter. Like, he is just such an intellectual and just a really, really intelligent guy that just, like, oozes with knowledge. So it's really, really, interesting to listen to him talk about anything. Filmmaking, just any topic. I can listen to him talk for days. But, he just really crafted this film with, a lot of style and a lot of talent, just from being in the business for so many years. And the cool thing about this one that I would really like to, hit upon is that it's a horror film that, kind of blends a bit of an urban, spin to it. It's just one of the few horror films that I can, that come to mind that if I think of an urban style horror film, this film goes right up there now after seeing it. This is a really well-made urban horror film, and if people don't really understand, what I'm talking about when I use that term, think of Candyman. I mean, I think of Candyman as a really great, horror film in general, but a really great urban horror film that, kind of takes place in, a certain group of individuals set in a certain area, such as the ghettos, in Candyman, and of course, the ghettos that are presented in The People Under the Stairs. And, it's just really, really great. I mean, when you see, Craven, how his career just kind of, took so many different directions, dealing with, the kids in suburbia and Elm Street to, the gritty, exploitation angle of Last House on the Left, and then you come across something that's set, in the ghetto, focusing on, for the first time, dealing with, a main character that was a child. So that was something, really unique for Craven at the time. And, now stepping back, 15 somewhat years later, when you look at, Craven's, body of work up until this point, you look at this film and, it just goes to show, this was something, truly unique and special in Craven's body of work. So I really, really admired the film for, its usage of, just, the ghetto and the characters that were presented in this, because everybody in this was really, really great. As I mentioned earlier, Brandon Adams, who went on to star in The Mighty Ducks, as well as Ving Rhames, who plays the family friend that actually persuades Brandon Adams' character. His name is Fool. Actually, his nickname is Fool. In the film, and both of them play really well. Play their characters really, really well. Ving Rhames, of course, went on to play Marcellus Wallace in Pulp Fiction, as well as starring in the Mission Impossible trilogy with Tom Cruise. But everybody's really, really cool, and another cool casting choice on this by Craven's part is just a cool connection. Was the character that plays Fool's sister is actually Kelly Jo Minter, and horror fans would actually recall her from being in 1991's Popcorn, which is a film that I reviewed during my 31 Frightening Days of Halloween marathon. And she also starred in Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, and of course Craven is responsible for giving birth to the Elm Street franchise and Freddy Krueger. So I just thought that was a really cool connection to see Craven use an actress that had actually performed in one of the Elm Street sequels. So that was cool to see. Without giving, I don't want to give too much away about why the landlords in this film are so fucking crazy, because it's just really, really cool and, surprising and just odd to see it unfold on its own for viewers. But they are just off the wall. I mean, the actors that played in this film, they're, in the film, they're brother and sister, and they're just complete whacks in the film. I mean, just totally, totally crazy. Like, when you think that, like, they're just beyond demented, then something else happens where you're just left with, like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? So, it's just really, really cool. And I was just so, I mean, the two characters, they're just so engaging. I mean, you're just really, really drawn into their performances and just how fucking kooky they really, really are. So, it's just, they just really put the icing on the cake for this film. I really, really enjoyed the hell out of their performances because they're just so fucking, demented. So, I mean, that just really added to, the spirit and the atmosphere in The People Under the Stairs. So it was really, really great, and, great credit to the two actors who played these characters in this film. They just did a really, really, really phenomenal job. I really enjoyed their performances. And of course, overall, this film is just something that, should not be overlooked when you're dealing with, Craven films in general, because this is just something really, really unique. I mean, he's, when you bring up Craven, so many people associate him with Elm Street and, of course, Scream, but, you have to really look between the cracks of people's body of work and, just look at, maybe the lesser-known films. And 1991's The People Under the Stairs is certainly something from Craven's body of work that should not be missed. It's a really, really incredible film. To touch upon the creatures that Fool's character actually discovers in the house, they are really, really cool and incredibly creepy because, there's just a really great atmosphere in this film that deals with all these secret passageways that lie within the house that the landlords reside in. And, the characters are just seen in kitchen cupboards and closets and under the stairs, obviously, and it's just crazy. I mean, there's all these passageways that, like, the landlords are chasing Fool's character upon and then coming across the creature. So there's just this really, really phenomenal, claustrophobic, vibe throughout the whole film. And then, of course, you get mixed in with these really cool, creatures that have really great makeup designs and really, leave you, pretty scared in a lot of scenes. So, there's a great, suspenseful, claustrophobic vibe going on throughout this whole film. So that's really, really exciting to see Craven touch upon that, because it just adds to the spirit of this film. You're just totally wrapped up, and it totally is making you jump and leaves you on the edge of your seat. And, what more could you really ask for from a horror film from Wes Craven? Now, to close it off, I would highly recommend checking out 1991's The People Under the Stairs. It is a terrific Wes Craven film that, cannot be missed. Now, it certainly is no coincidence that I chose a Wes Craven film for this week's review, because if you guys are keeping count, next week's episode is actually the season finale. I know we're already here. The season finale of Frightener 22's Saturday Night Movie Drive-In. As I had stated, it is no coincidence, so next week we're going to be taking a look at one of my favorite films of all time, in addition to the first film I ever seen. That's right, we're taking a look at Wes Craven's classic 1984, A Nightmare on Elm Street, just 1 week shy of the remake hitting theaters worldwide. So be sure to tune in next week to the season finale of Frightener 22's Saturday Night Movie Drive-In. I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks again.